alliances is like a very unique part of the
Oh,
organization.
that I took time to understand. Like
Yeah.
it's very because when I was like younger and working like for startups, like I never understood or heard about alliance, and it's only since I started working in the Salesforce ecosystem that I understood that there is something dedicated to this action.
Partnerships, yeah.
Isn't it great?
It was the same for me. So like coming up into that sort of part of the business
Yeah.
to understand like, okay, hold on a second. So what do we actually do here?
Yeah.
And then our roles were quite unique and they drastically changed over the time. Like when I started in the team, we were partner practice development, and it wasn't just enablement. We technically were helping, educating consulting companies on how they can structure their consulting business with Salesforce. So it's very different from product training. Then you go up into like, how do you enable Salesforce, like salespeople? How do you enable solution engineers? How do you enable the actual delivery team? How do you structure it? Like there's so many
verticals almost.
And we sort of like we only could manage so many things because the team was still lean at the time. And as we evolved, it sort of transitioned over the time, and you get more into like actual product enablement. You work with product, you define some best practices and build these and that. So it certainly changed. But I mean, learning that whole importance and significance and understanding that for Salesforce, partner ecosystem is a big thing, right? Because
and still will be in the future, you think? Like, what are we? What
100%.
is? How do you think?
I have no doubt. Like any company who's a software vendor, despite the efforts of building up their internal professional services, it's a limiting factor. I mean, unless they make it primary book of business for themselves. Like one of the things that you, as you start your business, you kind of get to learn is like you have to have your focus. You have to understand where your strengths are. And when you diversify the business, it's good, absolutely. But at the same time, what are your main things that you do? And when you go up, if the software vendor goes up heavily into professional services delivery, into consulting, they're two different things. So it's almost like you're building a second arm of the business that doesn't necessarily depend on what you do with software. Right. And Salesforce is a vendor. It's a software vendor. Therefore, we're kind of looking into that. You do need to have professional services organization